going to play out. Hi, I'm Chris Anthony, and just wanted to share a perspective about a particular term that I feel has gone rogue for quite some time, maybe the bat of 150 years, and that is the term coon. What does coon mean to you? What is the significance of it? Well, what I am gathering based off of a great deal of videos, and when people use the term, what they possibly mean is a urban dictionary wise. I've even looked it up in the urban dictionary. It means a black person has not identified or acknowledged discrimination, and they date white females. I suppose they date any female or any male outside of their race because it's a form of self-hatred. Okay, debunk a couple of these ideologies behind some of this definition in the Urban Dictionary. First of all, my interpretation of the Urban Dictionary is an attempt to create a language that's based in ignorance, because we as black people, being here for going on 600 years, and our evolution for about 150 to 200 years, we have not mastered the English language. So instead of us just accepting what English is in this country and trying to master it, we create our own ignorant language. Interesting. Instead of learning a particular language from Africa, we're attempting to create our own slanged out language. That, again, it's just based in ignorance. Now, the term coon, it has many different initiations. One being, there was something referred to as the barracoon in Africa during slavery, where they held the Africans before they shipped them off to any other country. And also there was a political party or movement in the late 1700s to 1800s that was called the Whig Party. Again, this was like the commencing of the Republicans, the radical Republicans that were primarily black in the 1800s, starting the movement to free the slaves. And it morphed into, due to some minstrel show where, white people were dressing up as black people, or at least painting their faces. And this was something that black people also did and were made fun of, and they fell in line and they did these things. Now, this was during slavery. One could understand how a person can fall into that category of needing to survive, needing not to be lynched, needing not to be murdered or killed in any way for a lack of obedience. But then it shifted again to, and that's according to the Urban Dictionary, of blacks having self-debasement. When in truth, the term was actually used to debase black people from white people. So what we've done yet again is we've taken a term, instead of making it a term of endearment, which is, again, a form of psychosis. It's a mental goddamn illness. We've taken a term and that's been used to debase us, to shatter our confidence, to shatter our esteem toward each other. And we use it to label another black person who doesn't fall in suit. So this is the irony of it, is coon actually means falling in suit. Look at the stereotypes that's been attached to black people. Black people are ignorant. Black people do not want to learn. They want everything for free. thanks to the welfare system. And you know, that particular song that was popularized in the early 1900s, just pointing out how raccoons all look the same, so you can't really identify a raccoon from another, which is something that was also pegged to black people, meaning that all black people are ignorant, all black people look the same. So this is why white people use the term coon to identify black people. And that's also it's also a ridiculous meme, because quite frankly, when you go against the stereotype that's been attached to you, then you are removing yourself from cooning. And I think you need to, as a black person who wants to remove themselves from that particular stereotype, is educate yourself. Because when you are remaining lumped in that particular category, then you are in truth a coon, because you are remaining that particular person, that particular stereotype that was attached to black people. You're remaining every bit of that, which means, like the song pointed out, I can't tell raccoons apart because they all look the same. Well, if all black people are pegged into that particular corner where we all are ignorant, we're all this, we're all that, and everything negative in between, wouldn't you consider that to be coon, and not a person like your Frederick Douglass, your I believe her name was Sojourner Truth, you know, your black educated people, I believe Alan Richards, you know, from the 1800s, ranging from that particular time to the 1900s, that got out of that particular stereotype that was attached to them, which is black people can't read, black people are not able and capable of being educated. So I think we need to look into the etymology of that particular term and understand that when you stay in the realm of what the stereotype says you are, that's when you're a coon. Because that's when you look, act, and behave, ridiculous, but behave like every other black person according to historical means says you're supposed to. So again, I point this out to someone. They make this statement, you know, that's also a little debasing in a sense, because they try to put it in the sense of, oh, everybody on YouTube or I guess on the net has a PhD, and I'm like, okay, not even gonna entertain it. Just gonna let you know this much: it doesn't take a PhD for you to do some research, for you to get a hold of some historically documented information that gives you a little knowledge on how you've been misusing this word for quite some time. So sometimes you need to ask yourself, when you're so quick to call another person a coon, are you really the coon? Because you're staying locked in that particular mindset. You're staying locked into this is how black people are supposed to behave and be. So who actually is the coon? There's much to cover on this. This is just a little moment of me sharing how I feel about it. And like, subscribe. Let's open up a dialogue, conversation about this particular term, and let's stop allowing ourselves to fall victim to our own stupidity and psychosis, and trying to turn or modify terms like nigger and coon, you know, nigger into the term of endearment, which is again psychotic. It's ridiculous. And using a term like coon that was ultimately used in the late 1800s and the early 1900s to debase the confidence of a black man and of a black woman. It's time to get out of that mindset. You know, almost 200 years after the American Civil War, and we're no better off now than we were then, when we actually were willing to fight for the right to be a citizen and to be equally associated in this country with every other culture. And we're still stuck. Well, actually, we're not even stuck. We've devolved. And that leads to the civil rights movement and affirmative action, all of that great stuff that I'm not even going to touch bases on in this moment. But I am Chris Anthony, and I am out. We will be the new movement. Intelligence will be the movement, and not ignorance.